The crochet gods are against me. I have had a terrible day trying to film a podcast. Please wish me luck. Hello, how are you? You all right? My name is Rosina. I am a crochet designer and I am filming in my living room somewhere in the southwest of the UK. Let me know, where are you from? Tell me. Not everybody's going to be from the same place, so let's find out where everybody is from. Leave a comment because I'm nosy and I want to know. What I've been doing instead of filming podcasts and things like that today is taking photographs of some finished objects so that I can put free tutorials on the internet and also put together, you know, my usual patterns and things like that that I can release as and when they're ready. Including things for this lot. I have got so much. I've been working on a lot and I didn't realise how much I'd worked on and how much I'd finished until I gathered it all together for this podcast. Wow, I had no idea because I chastised myself so much for not being super professional and organised and on it with patterns and planning. But you know, look, I have been busy. I've been making stuff. It's all crochet apart from one thing which is knitted, which is a whip, not a finished object. I don't think I can do this in a particular order, so I'm just going to smash and grab and chat about things as and when I pull them from the pile of magic. So I've pulled this one out first. This is the Rustic Ripple Wrap. And it was in Inside Crochet magazine on the front cover. I don't know, last year before, maybe, yeah, 2023. In around this time of year, actually, I suppose. I've made that up. I don't know when it was, autumn, winter. So it wasn't this time of year at all. I was worried then that it had a hole in it. I think it's just holey, not hole, legit, not like error holes. Just, it is deliberately lacy and loose and drapey because that's the look I was going for. So it's a Rustic Ripple Wrap. It may be an old design, but I released the pattern last week before, which has a chart that I created as well as the written pattern. No video tutorial as yet. However, it's very similar to the Lorex scarf that I put together a long time ago now, but that one does have a video tutorial and the principle is the same. It's just there's a lot more, some of it's lacy, some of it's not, and it's more random in that respect. But other than that, I mean, they're very similar stitch patterns actually. Anywho, this is using Stylecraft Grace, which is a mohair blend with, I can feel the acrylic in it, but it's got enough mohair to create a nice halo and fuzzy yarn, which I really, really like. But you could make this in, I don't know, DK. You could make it in 4-ply. You can make it in anything you want. The only thing being is that the width and length of the scarf would change depending on the weight of yarn you used, I guess. That is something that lives on my sofa like this. It lives up there, and in the cold mornings I just reach for it and use it to stay cozy. I don't often wear it out. It just lives on the back of my sofa really. With the leftovers, I made this, which is Ducky Fuzz, and there's a video where I'm in a bad mood, which I published not that long ago, about all the flops and the fails, and I did talk about this in that video because I'd done this in yarn that wasn't lots of colours, it was just one colour. I'd made a couple vests and it wasn't doing so well in the pattern sales, and I wondered if it's because it needed to be a bit jazzier, like you know, all stripes. And this one is also part of my knitting crochet combo obsession. So the ribbing in this particular one is knitted, but in the pattern it's crochet. I was just experimenting and seeing what it would look like, because I have had a thing with knitting needles this year where I want to try lots of different things ish. So this is Starcraft Grace as well, with the pattern Ducky Fuzz, and it's just, yeah, a crochet sleeveless top. The knitting crochet combo thing is something I've been really keen on. For example, in my granny square sweater, which I have a separate video for, so I'm not going to talk about it in great detail. I will just link to the blog post and the video for that. Needless to say, it's a crochet granny square jumper and all the ribbing is knitted. So see, slightly getting into knitting. I can't remember where I was because I've just had a spam call. People have arrived home from work, husband and children. Well, actually, yeah, my oldest just came back from Manchester. He went to some sort of concert. So I keep getting loads of interruptions, like the cat asking for a tea. But going back to Starcraft Grace and knitting, it all kind of ties in together, because I'm also making, this is the other knitting thing that I've got on the go at the moment. This is a jumper, a very, very basic jumper. Excuse me, I'm too hot. I am knitting what would be a very plain, straightforward jumper, like crew neck thing, but I messed up and I did a knit when I should have been purling, and then decided to do it again because I was unprepared to frog it back. And so I think I'm actually going to use it as a feature, so that every few lines I have this like garter in amongst the stockinette. And weirdly, look what I did. Obviously I started in purl and then forgot and carried on knitting. This was when I was doing a purl row, and then same on the other side. What was I thinking? So I've tried to match it just like willy-nilly, and I might do like that all the way up to the top of the jumper, or maybe I'll stop after a few goes at it. I don't know. And I was also thinking about doing it sporadically, so that you have like little short sections and then none, and then like stagger it and bung it sporadically wherever to make it look like a design feature. Or I just do these stripes, and this is the crunch point of whether or not I continue this, because if I had 3 and then gave up and went all random, it would look stupid. But I think I could get away with 2 long stripes before going off on the crazy journey. I'm undecided. Also, I know like serious knitters probably would have just ripped it out. I'm at such a short stage, an early stage in this progress. But as a regular knitter, I'd already invested enough time that I wasn't prepared to undo it. I guess it's a learning curve. And it's working up super, super quick, because yeah, this is an Aran weight and these are 6mm needles. So within a few rows and a few minutes, you're really, really building on the jumper. But I haven't actually touched it for about 4 weeks. It's this one, and I bought it and the yarn in a beautiful yarn shop in Alnwick. I think it's just called the Alnwick Wool Company, something like that, which is a town in Northumberland, right up in the northeast of England. And so this is like I think probably like a Starcraft pattern that they sell, and you buy them in yarn shops. And as you can see, that one's stripy. I'm going to do all mine in ice blue at some point. I bought it on holiday, the yarn and the pattern, and I worked on it on holiday. So this is the progress I made when I was in Norfolk. Not to be confused with Northumberland, because it's all the way down the bottom somewhere. Well, not quite at the bottom, but much lower down than Northumberland. I think probably when I'm on holiday, I do more more fun projects rather than crochet design work. So those are those things. What should we talk about next? I don't want to rush through everything. It would be lovely to slow it down and talk through things in a more leisurely pace. But I'm running out of time because I've got to go and cook tea in a minute. And I don't know whether I have to go and get my youngest from his friend's house or not. I'm not sure. You may have recently seen this granny square wrap, which I think is called the Totnes wrap. That's what it's called in Inside Crochet magazine. The issue that is out at the moment, I can't remember what number, like maybe 182 or something like that. But it's a wrap, a lovely wrap, or a nice cozy scarf, pretty much. I used John Arbon Textiles Knit by Numbers because I like it and I've always liked it. It's the first time I've used it since they changed the blend. Knit by Numbers is like their what's it called? Flagship. I don't want to say that. Their flagship yarn? Is that what you say? I don't know why it doesn't sound right. The blend is now merino with blue face Leicester, where it was once just merino and therefore was a bit pilly before. And this has definitely got more, what's the word? It's definitely got more robustness without taking away from the softness or the warm woolliness. And I would probably use it again. In fact, what I would like to do, which I won't do with the same yarn probably, but in my head, I think, wouldn't it be lovely to make this in a blanket? Like a massive version of all the grannies on the diagonal. So it's granny squares and solid granny squares as well, and they're all just joined together on the diagonal with a very simple border as well popped on. I've been thinking about making this for the longest time, and then I went, I'm going to submit it as a design. That's what I'm going to do, and then I get to make it. Because sometimes I don't know. Sometimes, well, all the time I have a long list of lots of ideas and all the things I would like to make, and some of them sit on that list for a very long time, talking years. This one hasn't been on the list for quite that long, but it was definitely on my list for at least a year before I actually decided to submit it. At some point it will become a release pattern as well. Imagine it in a big giant blanket as well. And if I were to do a blanket, I'm thinking, yeah, it's just a strip of colourful grannies down one side. Would I add another strip down the other end? I'm not sure. I've got some ideas that are drawn up, but who knows when that will be. I just know that I would like it to be in a wool, because I like the weight and comfort of a heavy wool. Something really, really sort of nice and homely about this. But you'll be able to see me in the streets of Exeter walking around wearing that in the winter, keeping myself warm. So that's that. Let's talk about something else. What should we talk about? I've been taking snaps of this morning. Really hard to do, actually. But this is a cowl design that I have half written up but not got very far. It's a very, very simple stitch pattern, worked on the diagonal just to make it a bit more interesting, and then finished off with the scallop edge for funsies. I think this is called Grasshopper, and it's the colourway, I mean, and it's Rivernets. I bought this at Unravel Festival in 2024, so last year, knowing that I wanted to do like a cowl design with it. I submitted the original idea to a magazine that I'd not worked for before, and they did not choose the design, and I was particularly disappointed. Sometimes when that happens, you just go, oh, well, maybe it wasn't good enough, so you don't explore it further and it just gets tucked away, never to be looked at again, thought about ever again. But this one was my swatch. This one was my swatch for the commission that I put forward, and I just really like it. This is a double knit version. This is 4-ply, and I'm going to do a fluffy version too. Now with this one, I was going to mirror and do so pink for the mane and then green for the edge, the opposite of this basically. But I don't know if I want to do green for the edge. I might want to do a neon yellow or maybe a brown. I'm not sure. I think I'll just work the main piece of the cowl and then decide. But what do you think? What should I go for, like a neon yellow with a fluff on it, or a different colour? What would you pick? Something pastel-y as well, or super contrast? Because I'm happy to hear suggestions. But that, again, I don't work on that very often because it's not one of those projects where I'm desperate to release it. I'm just sitting back and waiting for a time when I've actually got like the motivation to write it up and stuff. I've already created a chart for it though. Next. Oh, I won a competition. I won a little giveaway on Instagram, and I won this bag. I won a project bag. I'm well happy. It's called Love It Amsterdam. Well, not the bag, but the company it comes from. It's run by, I think it's a small business run by a lady called Ingrid, and she sells most of her bags online, but also in Stephen and Penelope in Amsterdam. And I won this bag, which is all like splotchy paint, bright, lovely colours that I just think is absolutely wonderful, and I love it. I got to choose which one I wanted out of like a handful of different designs, which is great. But it's got pockets. It's got pockets for putting stuff in. I do have a project in here at the moment. This is one that I really like. The yarn, the pattern, everything I really like, but I can only work on it at certain points because the yarn is very dark, and it's a daytime project for sure. I don't know if you can see. I just absolutely love the stitch pattern. And oh, I think that was probably not the best view. Maybe this side. It's going to be very similar. I'm sure I've talked about it before. It just hadn't been made up yet. And I might have known when I bought the yarn what it was going to be. I'm pretty sure I did. I've caked up one skein. This is the first skein. And I've got this much left so far. I've got a second skein wound up, and then a third one as a just in case, which I think I will need to break into. It is Daughter of a Shepherd, and it is 100% wool. This is a 4-ply yarn. It's very fine though, and it's 75% Hebridean and 25% Warbles. And it's 400 meters per 100 grams. And I'm using a 2.5mm hook to get like the right density. I cannot tell you how beautiful this smells. It smells to me like almost like a cidery hay. It's so unbelievably sheepy. And I love it. It's like, it gives you a high. I mean, not literally, but you know, it fills me with joy. I mean, it's eye-wateringly expensive, and I had no idea that it was quite so pricey when I handed over my card. I just went, I'll take 3 of those, and it was a lot of money. But this will be a forever piece for me, and it's properly what I wear when I'm not like playing with vomits of rainbow colour. I love brown and like earthy colours more than I do actual rainbowy colours, even though I use a lot of colour in my work. This is probably what I would wear day to day. I do find it, I can tell you now, if I'm being completely honest, it's got a tickle. But I don't mind. I don't get offended by scratchy wool. In fact, if anything, it just makes me kind of appreciate it because it's real. And this will have a border on it, and then I will wear it, and it will be a cozy winter shawl to keep me warm probably when I'm walking to work. And yeah, I love it, and I'm taking my time with it. I thought I'd be ready by now, but I've been working on so much that it just comes out every now and again. But it lives in this special bag that I won. I have wanted one of these project bags for years, and to be the owner of one, it makes me very happy. Isn't it fabulous? I like the abstract splotches, and a lot of Ingrid's bags are not abstract splotches. They're legit, and I can't remember what these are called, but they are like, let's clean my paintbrushes and make a design of it while we may as well. I was having a bit of a tantrum today because nothing was working. I tried to film this podcast maybe 4 or 5 hours ago, and I was going to use my new microphone. I've never used a microphone before, but I'm fed up of having my head chopped off when I film the videos. And like, if my face is on your telly, is it not like a great big moon face coming out of the television? Because other podcasters sit back here and talk like normal, sat at a distance on the sofa, but they've got microphones. I tried to use my microphone, but it wouldn't work. I know it does work because I've experimented already, and it worked then, and I think it's just run out of juice. It's new, you see, and I didn't charge it before I used it, so I think it's just come to me on factory settings and been like not at full capacity though, and therefore yeah, not got enough power to connect. But I want to be able to record podcasts properly rather than like talking to you from here. Sorry. Next up, a granny shawl. It's very simple, and I used as my base the pattern I wrote in 2015, 2016. There's a couple of differences, but not much to like write home about. I'll do another podcast. No, I'll do a blog post about this one separate to the old one, but I do have the old one ready and waiting if you want. It's quite interesting because I don't work in the same way as I did back then. Like, it was step-by-step photo tutorials that were, I mean, the photos are all right, but it just, I wouldn't write a pattern like that now. And I did go back in and edit it to make sure it made sense. But I did get told off by my friend because I think I went around telling everybody on Instagram it was a rubbish pattern. She's like, you shouldn't say that. The only difference I think being is that I've eliminated a row of UK trebles, which are US DC stitches, purely because that would mean I would have to count more and concentrate more, whereas if I get rid of that, I can just bung my scallops in between the granny clusters without thinking about it. However, I did go wrong and I missed a cluster. Can you see it? I missed a cluster, which has an impact on the number of scallops you do and where you start. So I counted the clusters on this side to work out where my scallops needed to go in order for my main corner to have its own scallop on it, because I didn't want scallop single crochet. I wanted the scallop in the center. I miscalculated, so I worked out that I didn't miscalculate, because there was an error in a missed cluster space. I calculated that I should have to have a half scallop in the last space, first space, depending on which way you look at it. But actually, it should be just a little single crochet there, and then the next space should be a scallop. That's how it should end. But I started with a half scallop instead of a single crochet, because that meant that as I worked, I would reach the middle and do the appropriate stitches. And then it wasn't until I worked all the way down the other side and went, hang on a minute, that's wrong. This one's different. And then I had to look at the whole shawl and like, look, where is the error? Where is the error? Where is the error? Ah, there it is. But also all of this to say that it depends on how many rows of grannies you do as to whether or not you'll get a little single crochet at the end, or need a half scallop at the end. But I will write about that in a blog post and tell you the sums. But also you can kind of work it out for yourself if you just, sometimes what I do, and this is terrible, is I go, right, I want a scallop here, and the next one will be a single crochet. So I just walk along the end going scallop, single crochet, scallop, single, scallop, single, scallop, single, and I go boop, 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 and count all the way down to work out what I'll actually have to start with. Do you do stuff like that, or is it just me? Or do you use maths and sensibleness to get to what you need? Because I just make stuff up as I go along. And then maybe that's why I get things wrong all the time. Maybe that's why I mess up. Maybe that's why I need to be more prepared, like charge my microphone before I hit go. What else? Oh, I was also gonna, when the microphone didn't work, I thought, fine, I'll record the tutorial for the granny. And then I looked at my hands as I started filming. I got like 3 minutes 43 seconds in, and I looked at my fingers, and literally they were stained with butternut squash, and they were all yellow looking. And I thought, I cannot film a tutorial with my hands looking so grim. Like, nobody would watch it. Everybody would judge me and think I was a terrible person. I mean, I know it's only butternut squash, but other people would be grossed out. And I don't do the nail gel thing or anything like that. So if I'm going to have naked nails, they need to be absolutely spotless. And they're not either, because I've got, I don't know if you can see, let's hide my face. So this is, I've got psoriasis in my nails, so they're not pretty anyway, like not the cuticles, but you won't be able to see this, but they're not smooth, and they come away from themselves, and it can be quite painful. But not only is it painful and uncomfortable for me, it looks ugly and I don't like it. So I should probably wear nail varnish. Just the nail varnish, plain cheap stuff, not the gel, because I don't approve of the gel for some reason. I think it's because I don't like it growing out. Says the person who will happily let chipped nails sit on the end of my fingers for 2-3 weeks before I remove it. People in glass houses. Is that the appropriate phrase? Anyway, I took some photographs of this instead of filming the tutorial, because nobody's gonna see my hands in the photos, hopefully. Didn't even think about that. I don't think you'll see. I'll Photoshop them. I'll Photoshop out the butternut squash. I'll mention this quickly. This is sport weight yarn, and what I want to do is make some wrist warmers. This is a current design whip, but it's not quite right. So I figured, oh, hang on. So I want to do some wrist warmers, and they fit really nicely everywhere, but they're too tight here. So I need to change my ribbing, because this was slip stitch ribbing, but it's too tight. So I'm going to change that to yarn over slip stitch ribbing, which means I need to frog this back. But what do you think? They're all right. I would love, love, love to do a crochet a gusset. Gusset is a good word. And then have a thumb on these as well. However, I'm also prepared for that not to work, because ideally what you should do is work the gusset in and the thumb in as you're doing the full mitten. But I'm wondering if I can do it as an after the fact gusset, just because I think it would be easier to do a join as you go thumb. I'm unsure because I've never done it before, but equally if it backfired and didn't work, they look fine without a thumb. What do you reckon? Thumb or no thumb? Are you a thumb fan or a thumbless freak? Oh my god. Because look, I say, look. It's a bit rude, wasn't it? Sorry. I have, where is it? There. I did do a little experiment, but this is like an Aran weight yarn. But I did and tried to build it as I went, and I managed it. I did it, but I was worried about these holes, and I just didn't think it was clean enough. And I also felt confused, and I thought, if I felt confused as the person designing it, how the hell am I going to write it up unless I do it again and again and again and again and get it right in my head? And I don't want to do that. Some things I'm prepared to like literally drill into something and until I get it right. But for this, I'm not ready yet. Maybe one day. I'm never going to discount it, but I'm not ready to do that yet. But I am ready to just try and do it join as you go afterwards to see what that looks like, because I think it would be easier to do and easier to understand. Is my theory right now. But regardless, this all needs to be frogged anyway. But it's good stitch, isn't it? I like the stitch pattern. It's just annoying that the ribbing isn't right. I also I really want like the longest pair of wrist warmers in the world as well. So despite this being a practical length, and some people might even think that this is too long. I don't. I love them. I love them long. But I would love them to like be here, and then they would slouch a bit to be here or something and be like a proper feature, not just something that are convenient and practical. I want them to be inconvenient but look good. But whether or not I'll do that at some point, I don't know. Let's stick with what makes sense for practicality. I feel quite sad about having to frog this back, but I know it's the right thing to do. And then I'll only be annoyed if the yarn over slip stitch ribbing is also too tight. But I won't know until I've actually remade it. I'm making, I think I've shown this before when I did a video, I'm sure it's a video, the one I did about Wonderwool Wales, because I was making this when we stayed in Wales. We stayed overnight, me and Michelle from Dora Explored, stayed in a little chalet in somebody's back garden in a village somewhere, 40 minutes or so from the Welsh showgrounds. And while we were there, I made some of this. I worked on this. And it's She Sells Seashells, which is a cardigan by me. And I want it in a different colour and a different yarn because I made it in alpaca in a mustard colour. And I don't think mustard is my colour. And the alpaca is I don't actually feel very warm in it, funnily enough. And it's very stretchy. I mean, I know that alpaca has got a proper stretch on it, but didn't really anticipate quite how much when I made that cardigan, and I did wear it a lot last year. I don't know if I wore it the year before because I don't know if I'd made it then. I can't remember how old it is. The difference being is though this is a different wool, and it will keep its shape more. And also I can't remember what else I was going to say about it. I mean, I literally had to rework 50 grams of it, which is basically a whole ball of it, because I worked this much in a 3.5mm hook when it's actually a 3.5mm hook when it's actually a 3mm hook. So you could see the difference. So I had to frog it all back and start again, which is annoying. This yarn it feels weird, but I think I've warmed to it. I think I was kind of put off at first. It's Faroese wool, Shetland wool and Australian lamb's wool mix. I've never heard of them. Navia Duo. I've never heard of this wool. I bought it from Linda Hobby. But actually, yeah, I'm starting to like it. The only thing I don't like about it is if I work on this for an evening, my hand turns blue. And that's never happened to me before. I know it's happened to other makers, knitters and crocheters who use certain yarns. But this is the first time where it's properly happened to me. And I looked down and went, oh my God, what's happened to my blood supply? Oh no, it's dye. I'm looking forward to this being a finished cardigan, and I don't think it will be too far off if I knuckle down and do it, but whether or not I will is another matter. I've stopped at the point where I need to split for the sleeves because I've worked it all in one piece. So the back is in the middle and then the two cardigan front pieces are in like that, and then you split when you get to the sleeve point. And I'm waiting to make my sleeves first, because if I were to follow the pattern religiously, I might have too much of an arm gap in the main body. Oh, sorry about this, because I'm making the smaller size of sleeve, and that's because for two reasons. One, I don't have enough yarn. I ordered the right amount of yarn and the company got in touch with me to say, we're really sorry, but the last ball available is a different dye lot, and it's obviously a different dye lot. Like, you can tell a major difference, and we want you to know that it's like that. We don't want to send it to you, so what do you want to do? And I said, just send me what you've got in this one, and it's a ball less than I need. However, I think probably by making a few tweaks here and there, I'm going to get away with it. One of the tweaks is I'm making sleeves that are 2 sizes smaller than my size, because they'll go like that. They're supposed to be. And the beauty of this design is, and I know a lot of people have said, actually, a lot of people, I think 2 people went, gosh, the sleeves on this cardigan are quite wide. It's deliberate. They are deliberately wide because it's based on a wrap I designed years ago that has buttons on it, so you can turn it from a rectangle wrap, button up each end of the wrap to turn it into like a bolero, and that had very deep, and I liked this idea of these sleeves hanging like down to about here. For the cardigan version, I kind of did reduce it a little bit, but I still wanted the sleeves to be deep. Knowing that means that I can in fact go much smaller on the sleeves, and that buys me some yarn. So wish me luck. I didn't particularly want to take away any length from the main cardigan because I've got a long torso and that would look silly. I think I'll be okay, as long as I don't do anything silly like use hooks that are too big for the yarn. Another thing, a finished object, is my fuzzy duck. Not to be confused with Ducky Fuzz that I was talking about earlier. This is its, in name only, it's relative. There's not a lot else about them that's similar. gotcha. So this is a just a crochet jumper really, but it's a good one. I really like it. It's not C to C, it's not C to C, but it is very similar, but worked in rows, not from corner to corner, but it's very, very similar. Because I did have a couple of comments on Instagram when I was looking for testers, because people said, oh, it's a beautiful jumper, but I don't get on with C to C. And I was like, fear not. It's not worked corner to corner. You'll be fine. It's a drop sleeve jumper, and I finished this off on Saturday morning, I think, because then I took it to the beach to take some photographs on Saturday lunchtime. It was so hot. I did not need to be wearing jumpers, and I did it for the crochet cause. I did it for the love of crochet. So this is Fuzzy Duck, right? But it's not a fuzzy yarn, and it's not the roll neck that actually is the main showpiece of the Fuzzy Duck proper. However, I wanted to just play around with the yarn to see what would work and see what wouldn't, and actually why not have it so that it's got that versatility of another option. I thought that was quite a good idea. So this is the crew neck of Fuzzy Duck, and this is what it looks like in West Yorkshire Spinners Colour Lab, which is a yarn that's it feels very robust and durable and woolly. I think it's a wool blend. Again, it's not the softest yarn in the world, but I think somebody was commenting the other day, and they described, one of my testers who has a yarn shop, which is amazing, up in Scotland. I think they described it as a workhorse yarn, and it is. This is a winter jumper that's going to last, and it's going to keep me very, very warm indeed. The other yarn, oh, I don't have it actually. Oh, yeah, I do. The other yarn that I think this jumper would look really nice in, because this is got a halo to it, this is Stonewashed by Scheepjes, or Scheepjes, I think. But I don't have the Dutch accent, I'm afraid. This is the minerals version, which is weirdly colour changing and pastel, two things that I usually abhor. But in this, it actually looks really nice, and I don't know what possessed me to buy it, but I just looked at it and went, oh, I like that. I mean, people's tastes change, don't they? But it's a sport weight yarn. Right, this is double knit and it fits perfectly. But I got gauge with this as well, and I think this isn't lightweight, it's soft. It's an acrylic cotton blend, I think, and I'm surprised by how light and soft it is for a cotton, because normally I'm not keen on cotton for garments because it's too heavy and not stretchy and nice enough. Now, where are we? Let me show you Fuzzy Duck. One must be careful how you say that. I can't remember if I've showed you this before or not, but this is the original that I made. Completely different to that blue one, isn't it? What you can do when you make roll necks is, if you find that they go all sort of zhuzhy and not how you want it, you can always stitch them down, just sort of discreetly underneath, so that it doesn't move. But I'm not going to. See, this to me is like, I mean, that blue version, I really like it, and I think it's a really nice jumper, but it's just not as nice as this one. And I am making another one already. It's only because I have actually adjusted this. This is quite a big collar neck. So I have in the actual pattern that's out for testing at the moment, and it should be released at the end of October. I've actually reduced the width and the length just marginally, so that it's not like massively massive. I don't want it to be like tiny either, but you know. So this is Drops Flora, I think, held with the Drops Kid Silk Mohair, and it's real nice. But what I'm making next, and I'm going to do an all green version. It's going to be all green because this would look really nice with the brown shawl. This is Merino sock from Yarnsmiths, which is, I think, it's a wool warehouse brand, right? But they've got the they've got their own mohair and their own merino sock. I wish this was slightly more like this, but I'll forgive them. It still creates a nice green. It's just, I would love this lush green. Proper verdant, isn't it? So yeah, that I think will be quite possibly one of the nicest, in my imagination and in my hopes and dreams for the future. This is going to be my favourite jumper I've ever designed and made. I mean, it looks good like this with the stripes, and you should see the basket of little balls that I have wound in all the colours to make a crew neck version that's stripy. I've already made a crew neck jumper that's stripy in this pattern, but I don't like it. Maybe one day I'll show it to you, but the stripes are too, actually I think the stripes are like this, they're this width, 4 stripes, 4 stripes, 4 stripes. There's something about it I just don't like. It might be the colour, the combo of colours, but it looks just, it doesn't bring me joy. And so I've got a whole new basket full of different colours that I've like muddled together from stash, and I may have bought a couple new colours as well. Not many, it is mostly stash. And then I'm not allowed to make any more fuzzy ducks at all. Must move on to new designs after that. Because I have this thing where I like, if I make a design, I will often make it again and again and again, tweaking and changing it until it's more how I want it to be. It's really difficult to design something and then not try and make many different versions of it, each slightly different, because I want something to be good. But I had one experience where I had to design something and then make it, and that was it, and there was no time or options or choice to make any changes, and it was not something I enjoyed at all. But also at the same time I need to know when to draw a line, so I'm not like making 102 of the same thing just to strive for perfection, because that's also silly, I know that. I think I'll call it quits. I think that's long enough, isn't it? I've chatted for ages. I've got more probably, but let's just leave it there. I hope you are well. Thank you ever so much for joining me. And yeah, let me know what you're making. Let me know how, let me know what your like autumn winter plans are for crochet. We're definitely there, aren't we? I mean, it's August now, but I can feel autumn is knocking at the door, good and proper. It's exciting. So it kind of inspires everybody, doesn't it, to get the needles and the hooks and the wool out. Anyway, I've got to go and cook tea. I'm going to do courgette and chickpea curry because we have courgettes. Just, it's like the magic porridge pot of the garden, and I don't know what the magic word is to stop the courgettes from growing. They just keep coming and coming and coming. Sometimes it's like 4 courgettes every single day. Well, I mean, I don't know how courgette chocolate cake, courgette and walnut cake, courgette curry, which we're doing for tea tonight, courgette goes in the carbonara, courgette, I haven't done any courgette fritters yet, but courgette fried in butter and garlic. I did some chocolate chip muffins with courgette. They weren't as good as the walnut cake. Oh, courgette, like a courgette parmigiana instead of an aubergine parmigiana. You name it, I've tried it. Just courgette, courgette, courgette. Until like, and I've given them away to neighbours, I've given them to friends and family. Oh my god. So I'm going to go and make a courgette and chickpea curry. Anyway, thank you ever so much for watching, and I will see you again soon. Cheerio, bye bye.